Good evening. We do have a member of the Ministerial Alliance here with us this evening. Would you please come forward and pray for us?
Anything specific?
No, we just appreciate you being here. Thank you.
I'd like to add
Yes,
to
ma'am.
think of the Matson family, please.
What's that?
Scott Matson's family, he lost his brother.
Scott Massey?
Matson.
Scott is our Parks Director. He's not here
Okay.
tonight.
Scott.
Yeah.
All right. Father, thank you so much for bringing these folks here together tonight. Thank you again for the privilege that we have as pastors to be here and praying over this meeting. We lift up Scott's family at this time, Father, and especially the loss of his brother, and just pray that, Father, through the Holy Spirit, you'll just bring some divine healing there and just be with them during this time. Also, Lord, I just pray over this entire meeting and all the different types of business that will be discussed. So I pray, Lord, that you'll just, again, just bless this meeting, bless those who are here tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call the August 1st, 2022 Board of Aldermen meeting to order. City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jim Shrout,
Here.
Jeremy Taylor,
Here.
Brad Alexander,
Present.
Kelly Netto,
Here.
Rachel Kilmer,
Here.
and Mayor Dana Webb.
Here, thank you. The next item on the agenda is new business, deletions, or continuances. We do not have any of those tonight, so we will move on to the next item, which is public comments. We do have one this evening. I have Nicole Taff. Would you please come forward to the microphone? Hello, Nicole. Would you please state your name and address before you begin your public comments? And then Kim explain to you the 2 minutes. All right, thank you.
My name is Nicole Taft. I live at 308 Northeast 4th Terrace. So basically, I just want to address, it's Article 5, the Special Use Standards in the Unified Development Code, Section 405.210. Basically regarding the little point 6A, it's about solar plant panels and their placement on a house. And in essence, it just says that the front slope of the principal building shall not be used for the installation of solar systems or its components. So basically, the front of the house, the front full rope or roof part, can't be used for solar panels, and I'm just looking to basically change that so that it can be, because it's kind of goofy that just that one portion can't be used. So basically, it means any house that's facing in a really good direction for solar panels. Too bad. So
I'm assuming your house front faces
mine
the south.
does. So does my neighbors,
Yeah.
and they did have panels on the front, and then once they found out that couldn't happen, they basically had to double the amount of panels and put them on the back side of their house. So it's basically an ordinance that I'm assuming is for aesthetic purposes, which is kind of silly because driving to my house, I can see the backside of my other neighbors, and I can see all their panels on the backsides of their houses, which are facing the sun. So it just seems odd that it's punishing people who face in certain directions and making them pay more to get what they would, normally get with the other way. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming tonight to talk about it. That is what public comments are for. Either you can come do it here or call any of your Board of Aldermen, but we appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. These items are considered on the consent agenda so that members of the Board of Aldermen, by unanimous consent, can designate routine items to be approved by one motion. Tonight, we have approval of the July 18th, 2022 Board of Aldermen meeting minutes and expenditures through July 27th, 2022.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is unfinished business. We do not have any of that this evening, so we will move on to the next item, which is new business. The first item is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding approval of an agreement between the City of Oak Grove, Missouri and NCR Payment Solutions for credit card services and authorizing the court administrator to execute the agreement. Rachel?
Good evening. So NCR is, well, I did learn tonight, which I did not know, thanks to our city attorney, that NCR actually stands for National Cash Register. So I didn't know that.
Old people.
They were formerly JetPay, so that's basically what I know them as. They provide credit card services. The reason the court would like to use NCR in the court is because we will already be receiving NCR payments once we go live with Show Me Court software, because our traffic tickets will be on CaseNet, and they will be able to pay through CaseNet, and OSCA only contracts with NCR. So our bank account will only be receiving, will already be receiving payments from NCR. So it makes sense for us to have it down here in the court as well, so we can utilize it for phone payments and in-person payments and during court sessions.
Thank you, Rachel. Does the board have any questions for Rachel?
I do. Is there an additional cost associated with this? Or?
The fee will be applied to the customer.
Okay.
There is no cost to the city. No.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? If not, I'm just looking for any type of a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the agreement between the City of Oak Grove, Missouri and NCR Payment Solutions for credit card services for the court administrator to execute the agreement. I mean,
Second.
all of it, but there we go.
I have a first and a second to approve the, I'm going to call it NCR Payment Solutions for credit card services, authorizing the court to execute the agreement. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action for Bill Number 22-18 regarding an ordinance approving a proposal for the Prosecuting Attorney Management System, PAMS, between the City of Oak Grove, Missouri, and the REJIS Commission, and authorizing the court administrator to execute the proposal. Rachel again.
So we are asking to use the PAMS. The PAMS is a prosecutor portal and it's basically the Regis, Police Department has Regis mobile ticketing. PAMS is a product of Regis, their company, and it will interface with Regis mobile ticketing. The flow will go to the prosecutor where that will be her system. She will have access to records, tickets. She will make the approval process through PAMS, basically meaning she will approve the tickets and file them with the court. And then once she does that, there is an interface that will flow into Show Me Courts. So it'll work. There will be no manual entry of tickets or anything like that. So it somewhat replaces our current, we have an interface now with Regis and our current Encode software, so it will somewhat replace that, the workflow of it all.
So this is about a year ago when you told us the Show Me was going to take place. This is the long process of getting it all together.
Yes.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions?
And that's an annual cost, right? The $24.76?
Yes, it is.
So class 1, I assume, is the lowest level,
Yes.
so it goes up from there.
Right. If you file more than 250 tickets, you're bumped to the next level. In a month,
Yeah.
in a month's time, and
We're never
haven't.
close to that, right?
No, no.
This is an ordinance.
This is an ordinance.
Thank you. I move for first and second reading by title only of Bill Number 22-18.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the first and second reading of the proposed ordinance, a proposed title by only, of Bill Number 2218. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. City Clerk, would you please read the full title of the bill 2 times?
An ordinance approving a proposal for Prosecuting Attorney Management System, PAMS, between the City of Oak Grove, Missouri and Regis Commission, and authorizing the court administrator to execute the proposal. An ordinance approving a proposal for Prosecuting Attorney Management System, PAMS, between the City of Oak Grove, Missouri and Regis Commission, and authorizing the court administrator to execute the proposal.
I move for adoption of Bill number 22-18.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of Bill 2218. Any discussion? City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jim Shrout.
Yes.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Brad Alexander.
Yes.
Kelly Neto.
Yes.
Rachel Kilmer.
Yes.
The motion is approved, and Bill number 2218 becomes ordinance number 2043. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action for Bill number 2219 regarding an ordinance amending the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning on January 1st, 2022, and ending December 31st, 2022. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. So the amendment isn't approving any new expenditures. Rather, it's adjusting where the federal ARPA monies will be expended from. So initially, the guidance from the feds in their interim final rule indicated that ARPA expenses needed to be reported back to the feds on a project-by-project basis. As is typical with most federal grants, this is akin to itemizing deductions on your income tax. However, in the final rule, the feds adjusted that requirement for smaller cities. If a city received less than $10 million in ARPA funds, and for reference, we received $1.68 million, the new guidance allows cities to recognize ARPA monies as revenue loss and expend the money directly out of our main operating funds. So this budget amendment moves the expenditures from the ARPA fund to occur in the general fund, water fund, sewer fund, and street fund. So based on, so we would be allowed to take that as a standard deduction because we're less than 10 million. It's not approving any new expenditures. It's simply going to move the expenses that the board's already approved for ARPA funds directly into those main operating budgets. As you notice in the amendment, we're moving about 1.683 million, which is what we were allocated, and the budget amendment is for about $1.3 million to be moved to those operating funds because we still have about 300,000 of ARPA monies that are unallocated that will now be in those funds directly. So in future budget years, the board would be able to allocate those funds out of fund balance from those funds. So, with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions from the board?
Make a motion for first and second reading of bill number 2219.
Second.
22-19,
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the first and second reading of the proposed bill by title only. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. City Clerk, would you please read the full title of the bill 2 times?
An ordinance amending the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning on January 1st, 2022 and ending December 31st, 2022. An ordinance amending the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning on January 1st, 2022 and ending December 31st, 2022.
Make a motion to adopt bill number 22-19.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of the bill number 2219. Any discussion? If not, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jim Shrout.
Yes.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Brad Alexander.
Yes.
Kelly Neto.
Yes.
Rachel Kilmer.
Yes.
Motion is approved, and the bill number 2219 is now ordinance number 2044. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action for bill number 22-20 regarding an ordinance vacating portions of the right-of-way located all that part of the alley lying south of and adjacent to Lot 2 and north and adjacent to Lot 15, Block 1, in accordance to the provisions of Section 405.110 of the Municipal Code of Oak Grove, Missouri. Matt?
So thank you, Mayor. So
Thank
this would
you.
vacate a portion of alleyway between 8th and 9th Street, 8th and 9th Street, as you can see on the screen, immediately west of Broadway. For reference, this is directly across the street from Casey's. The alleyway runs east and west, and it's, as you can see, it's in between these parcels here. This is an older plat, and you can see at this time there's actually only 3 parcels that are on this block from 8th to 9th Street. Most recently, on the corner of 8th and Broadway, there was a house that was demolished, a 2-story white house. The applicant has purchased all 3 of those parcels and would like to combine those 3 parcels into one parcel, block to block, from 8th to 9th, in order for future commercial development. Specifically, the applicant's intent is to have a strip mall of sorts with an emphasis on medical offices, one of which would be a dentist office, and then hoping for some other things to bring into the city. Other than an electrical service drop, which runs through the easement, the alleyway is currently not being used for any other purpose. The Planning Commission did recommend to vacate the alleyway on July 19th. Staff would recommend approval of the vacation contingent upon the applicant working with Evergy to relocate any existing utilities that are in that alleyway. So approval tonight, it wouldn't technically go into effect to vacate that alleyway from the city's perspective until those utilities have been removed and relocated at the applicant's expense. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Was the applicant made aware of that? Do they know about the utility?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, they're aware of that, and they're already in talks working with Evergy, but their design takes a number of weeks to go through that. But yes, they are aware. They're already in contact with Evergy on relocating that.
Thank you.
And what we would be voting on tonight, like in this bill, that's written in there? The stuff, your recommendations?
Yes, so
Okay.
it is in the ordinance.
Okay.
Already on Section 5, that this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after the date of its passage
it.
and approval, and upon the relocation of all existing utilities located in said right-of-way. So yes, it's already in there, wouldn't require it to be part of the motion, but I just
Okay.
want to make that clear.
Thank you. I move for first and second reading by title only of Bill number 22-20.
Second?
We have a motion and a second for the first and second reading of the proposed ordinance of Bill number 22-20. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. City Clerk, would you please read the full title of the bill 2 times?
An ordinance vacating portions of right-of-way located all that part of the alley lying south of and adjacent to Lot 2 and north of and adjacent to Lot 15, Block 1, between 800 and 804 South Broadway, in accordance with the provisions of Section 405.110 of the Municipal Code of Oak Grove, Missouri. An ordinance vacating portions of right-of-way located all that part of the alley lying south of and adjacent to Lot 2 and north of and adjacent to Lot 15, Block 1, between 800 and 804 South Broadway, in accordance with the provisions of Section 405.110 of the Municipal Code of Oak Grove, Missouri.
I move for adoption of Bill number 22-20.
Second?
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of Bill number 22-0. Any discussion? If not, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jim Shrout,
Yes.
Jeremy Taylor,
Yes.
Brad Alexander,
Yes.
Kelly Netto,
Yes.
Rachel Kilmer.
Yes.
The motion is approved, and Bill number 22-20 becomes ordinance number 2045. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a proposed application for a site plan and design review for commercial development at 204 South Broadway, Oak Grove, Missouri, Scooters Coffee franchise, applicant Loving Cup LLC. Matt?
Yes, and you should have a couple of hard copies of the site plan. I think there's 3 up on the dais, and they
We do.
also have a much larger version if the board would like to see that as well, and I can also put it up on the screen. Yes, applicant Loving Cup LLC is requesting approval of a site design and plan review for a scooters drive-through facility located at 204 South Broadway. The site is currently occupied by KC Baby Back Ribs. The proposed application includes a full demo of all existing structures at that location. The applicant is then proposing to build a 664 square foot drive-through only Scooters Coffee facility. The applicant is proposing a reduction of impervious surface, which will actually reduce a stormwater runoff. Therefore, no stormwater study was required. The site includes, along with the building, a pickup window, a dumpster enclosure, a monument sign, a flagpole, a menu board with an intercom pedestal, directional signs to direct traffic to the entrance and exit, 9 parking stalls, including 1 handicap space, and required buffering for landscaping. The proposed site plan meets the required off-street parking, stacking requirements, illumination, and signage. The existing entrance is not being adjusted. It is in MoDOT right-of-way. MoDOT has been contacted about this potential development, and MoDOT is not requiring any additional permitting since not moving the entrance, and no traffic study was required either. The applicant, Jake Burnett, is in attendance, and with him is also Sarah and Judd. If the board has any questions for them or for myself, I'd be happy to answer anything.
Thank you, Matt. Jake, I know you would like to come up and speak to the board. Please come up at this time.
Good evening, Mayor and board members. I appreciate you all taking the time to review our proposed development tonight. I am, as it was read, with Loving Cup. We are a franchisee of Scooters Coffee, so it's a family business for us. We actually reside in Blue Springs, Missouri, and we are proposing, as Matt read, to develop a drive-through only kiosk with Scooters Coffee, where the existing barbecue restaurant is. So we're happy to answer any questions you guys might have. We appreciate your time. And Matt, thank you for the excellent reading.
If you'll just stay right there, we'll see if the board has questions. Does the board have any questions for Jake?
I do. What's the timeline looking like?
So we are going to do everything we can to open this year, would be our goal. So if we can break ground essentially in the second half of September, we've got a shot at getting open this year, and so that would be our goal. And I know my wife would be a lot happier if I opened before Christmas. So
That's true.
Sorry, I have another
No,
question.
go ahead.
What are the hours like in opening and closing? Things
So we
like that?
typically, some of that is dictated by the town that we're in, right?
Right, okay.
But we typically operate between about 5:30 in the morning until 8 p.m. at night.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's not an ordinance, I'm just looking for some type of a motion here.
Make a motion to approve the site plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the site plan for Scooters Coffee franchise applicant Loving Cup LLC. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a resolution establishing Columbus Day as a holiday in the city of Oak Grove and amending the personal policy manual of the city of Oak Grove, Missouri. Matt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So as mentioned at the last meeting, there was perhaps some confusion on the city's holiday schedule. So this resolution would add Columbus Day as an official city holiday. Columbus Day is the only holiday that is both a state holiday and a federal holiday that is not also a city holiday.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. And as we've discussed, I'm the one that asked you to bring this back. So as we discussed, most surrounding cities, pretty much all of them, have this holiday off, correct? From your research.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mix. Some do, some don't,
Okay.
but yeah.
All right.
Now, is this the holiday that we use as a floating holiday to give people the day after Thanksgiving off?
So that is my understanding. We did look through old prior meeting minutes, looked at old resolutions, trying to find when that was done. We went back 25, 30 years, couldn't find that. But kind of through the oral history, what's been told is that, yes, at some point there was
This
a
was
discussion
floating
of
holiday.
day after Thanksgiving and Columbus Day.
So this would, what's proposed right now would be in addition.
Right. This would add Columbus Day, but still keep the day after Thanksgiving.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Make a motion to approve the resolution establishing Columbus Day as a holiday.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution for Columbus Day as a holiday for the city of Oak Grove. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a change order number 1 with Advanced Asphalt for the 2022 Street Preservation Program, Project 2022, or is it 2022-01?
Yes.
Is that the number?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. You're up.
Oh, I'm okay.
Yeah, you're
So
up again.
thank you, Mayor. So this is change order number 1 with Advanced Asphalt. As the board is aware, the original project included a 2-inch mill and a 2-inch overlay. Unfortunately, we encountered much more area of base failure than we initially suspected. And in many cases, the extent of the failure wasn't evident until after the milling had occurred. So this change order reflects the increased tonnage necessary to replace 4 to 6 inches of additional asphalt on top of the 2 inches. So this is increasing the total contract tonnage. The price has not been adjusted. So for the board's reference, if we go and purchase asphalt ourselves, we're probably spending somewhere around the $95 a ton. Through this contract, it's $78 a ton. So it is cheaper to go through the contract than it would be for us to purchase it ourselves. The change order is in the amount of $195,000. At this time, the estimated quantities would be $189,882. And so we've added, $6,000 there in contingency just in case when we start hogging out materials on Robinson that there might be more than suspected. So the amount before the board tonight is requesting $195,000. That is being proposed to be split amongst 2 funds, $100,000 out of the general fund and $95,000 out of the street fund, and that would be covered by the ARPA monies being transferred into those funds.
That's in the spreadsheet, the $1,323,000, or that would be a use of that remaining 300, a portion of that?
That would be part of the 1.3, so this would not be an addition.
And just to clarify, that's change order includes all the work that was done already in Oaks of Edgewood along with what needs to be done on Robinson.
Correct. So this includes all the work that has already occurred, as well as, I believe, $35,802 estimated for additional repair on Robinson.
Additional repair by the railroad tracks where it failed there?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So when that was milled down, the surface appeared to be solid, so a 2-inch cap was put over it. It being still fresh and malleable asphalt, when heavy construction equipment was rolled over it, the base was in fact failing, and so the base moved underneath the fresh asphalt, causing it to rip and tear and actually push out over the edge of the asphalt. So the proper fix is to go down, remove 10 inches of material. We're going to do that in-house. It is cheaper for us to do it in-house. So we're going to remove the material, put in gravel or millings in GeoGrid, and then contract out the 4 to 6 inches of base, and then the 2-inch cap, and that's the $35,000.
And the areas further north on Robinson are just done in-house concrete repairs?
Yes, yes,
salted out
yes. So
sections?
there's a couple of base failures that have occurred outside of this project scope on Robinson, and we're going to hog those out. In fact, we did that today, and we're going to be replacing that in-house so as a failure happens, we'd like to do deep base repair so that when a mill and overlay program happens, it can just be a 2-inch mill or 2-inch overlay without having to do this in the future. There are likely areas in Ron Robinson and probably other areas in Oaks of Edgewood that may also have base failure issues stemming from the soil that is out there. It's very tight clay. Water does not absorb relatively easily, so it stays. And the standard at the time was compacted clay over 8 inches of asphalt. That standard is no longer used in Oak Grove, so new streets, future streets should not have this issue.
And so if the board approves this tonight to move forward, then you said some of the work's already started, and would this, only
Yeah,
reason
so
I'm
the work-
asking is because of all the trucks that are going through there right now to get
Right,
back.
so some of the work that's already been started is separate. We're going to just be doing that work in-house.
Okay,
We have not started the repair on the areas of Robinson that have failed post-mill and overlay.
okay. Would you wait until all of those trucks are done pulling stuff out of Oaks of Edgewood, or since it could damage it again?
Well, if the base is done correctly, it shouldn't.
Then it should be
Yeah,
okay?
so it should be okay.
I'm looking at Corey.
Our public works superintendent is here. I'm gonna kind of look his way. We could certainly see if the contractor would be willing to honor these prices longer if we
It's
were
gonna
to
be-
wait and
be a
to
long
see
time,
where.
right?
To finish out.
Yeah,
that
and they're
phase.
going, I mean, they're right now prepping phase 13 of Oaks of Edgewood. There's still going to be multiple phases
Yeah.
that will come through that area. After the base is repaired, the road should handle construction equipment.
That's good. Good to hear. Any other questions from the board?
Make a motion to approve change order number 1 with advanced asphalt.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve change order number 1 with advanced asphalt. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is information reports. Matt, do you have any tonight?
I do, Mayor, thank you. So you may have noticed and heard, right, all the humming and the wind tunnel as you
Yeah.
walked in. So unfortunately, we had a pipe burst behind the bathroom wall in the municipal court area, which occurred sometime yesterday morning. The leak was discovered around noon, but by that time, there had been substantial amount of water that had entered through the floor and over the drop ceiling. Luckily, we didn't lose any files or computer equipment, but we will need to replace some carpeting. Some drywall has been cut out, and a couple of light fixtures will need to be replaced as well. So we had ServPro here in town come out to do mitigation and remediation to dry out the area, remove the humidity, and prevent any mildew or mold spores from spreading. That's my report. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Chris? Thank you. Mark?
The monthly test of the Oak Grove Outdoor Warning System will be Wednesday, weather permitting. There is a marginal chance for severe weather on that day. So it's iffy whether we can do it or not because of possible severe thunderstorms.
Nice. Did you get some help for volunteers to help stand at the post like you were talking about?
We haven't gotten any response at all.
Oh, yeah. We need help, people, to go stand once a month by sirens to help test them, so
Or
please
if they
sign up.
live in that area, that would be
There you
good
go.
too.
Be
All
great.
they have to do is call in.
Such an easy little volunteer job, but very important. Thank you, Mark. Chief? No report. Corey? No report. Kim?
Just to send my condolences to Scott and his family.
Yes. Thank you. Rachel? All right. Rachel Kilmer.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the nomination, Mayor Webb, and
Yes.
thank you to the rest of the board for confirming me. I'm really excited to learn and join you guys and serve my community in this way. So thank you.
Thank you. Kelly?
Yes, Well, I wanted to double what Kim said, and my thoughts and prayers out to Scott and the whole Matson family and everyone affected by that loss. And then switching, Nicole, is it Nicole? Okay, so if Nicole was actually wanting to go further and attempt to get that changed, what would her next step be regarding the solar panels?
She would talk to someone like you guys, then you could
It's the board to,
direct city staff to bring back language to have that brought to, be planning and zoning first, right?
Yeah, that's correct, Mayor. So that section is under the UDC, so that would need to go to Planning Commission. There would need to be a public hearing as well for any changes to the UDC. That would, for staff to start that process, could either be generated by the Planning Commission, could request that change, or the board could direct staff to work on bringing language to the Planning Commission for review and recommendation.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Anything further? Jim?
No report.
Jeremy?
just welcome Rachel and condolences to Scott's family as well.
Brett? My prayers and thoughts go out to the Madsen family for their loss of GC. And congratulations, Rachel, for being part of our board and for being the youngest in forever of Elk Grove history. And then I would like to direct city staff to bring back some type of language for a use tax to go on the ballot. And maybe have the use tax go toward roads or whatever language you think is fit to wherever that funding would go for the use tax. Chris, do I have to have any type of a motion for that?
No, not necessarily. Staff can bring something back, and then the board can decide whether they want to move forward with it.
Okay.
I suppose it depends on the timeline. So if we
Yeah.
want something on the, say, November ballot, that would have to be approved at the next board meeting. And so we would need to bring that ballot language to the board. So if there is something more specific that the board would want, other than what is state statute, it would be helpful to have that known
okay.
in a motion.
Let's talk about that. So, board, are you willing to entertain bringing use tax to the ballot? And if so, would you like for the money from the use tax to go to roads or something else?
How much is it?
Does everyone know?
Do you know what use tax is?
I mean, I do.
Okay.
but
So, yeah,
maybe
so
we
I'll
can
just,
explain it
for
to-
anybody who might be watching
Go
at
ahead.
home.
Yes,
so
thank
the-
you, Matt.
Yeah, I
The
was gonna
use
say, let's
tax
explain it.
is essentially the tax that would be generated on internet sales. Not to bore you too much with history, but prior to 2015, 2016, you had to have a nexus of business in a state in order for the state to collect internet sales on that purchase. Around 2015, 2016, there was a case called South Dakota versus Wayfair. And in that case, basically it was determined that the nexus of an internet sales, they don't have to have like a distribution warehouse or a business in your state. Your sales occurring on your phone. The package is being delivered to your house. So that opened the doors for states to pass legislation for out-of-state and in-state internet sales tax. Missouri was one of the last states to pass a state statute reflective of that case. Governor Parsons signed that bill, I think, in 2020, maybe 2021, and it's going to go into effect January 1st of 2023, so this upcoming year. They did that to allow the Missouri Department of Revenue time to implement the system for the collection of the use tax. So in Missouri, they said if you have less than $100,000 of sales online as a business, you're not required to do reporting. But if you do more than 100,000, you are required to do reporting. And since there's been so many states that have added this, there's now software programs that will help businesses know what to remit in sales tax. The state, when they pass this, the state does collect their 4.225% tax on internet sales. So if you make a purchase on Amazon, you may notice you get charged a little bit of sales tax. That amount is the state sales tax, that's not the local jurisdiction's tax. The state basically determined that this is a new enough tax that it does require approval by the voters to be enacted. So if it were passed by the voters, then our 2.5% sales tax that is currently applied to the city limit sales tax would also apply to purchases you make online.
So would other taxing authorities, for a better term, be able to do that as well? Like, doesn't Sni Valley collect sales tax, or does some?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Well, Sni Valley, they collect sales tax, so they would have to, I assume, do their own.
Yeah, I think they can. They would have to do their own also. Each taxing district that wants to impose a use tax has to get voter approval. 'Cause I don't remember whether Jackson County has it or not, but some counties do, some don't. And some cities do, some don't.
So what you said was 2 point.
Yeah, so our
city sales tax?
is right, 2.5, so then that would be applied to all internet sales. And in fact, if you go to the Department of Revenue's website, they actually now have a online form. You can type in any address in the state, and it will show what your sales tax is or use tax is. So they've already got the system pretty much up and ready to go. And I think you asked the question of how much that would generate. The last, on the census, the U.S. Treasury, I think they said sales tax, or internet sales is 14.3% of all sales that occur. So looking at that, a use tax would likely generate somewhere between $350,000 and $450,000 a year for Oak Grove.
Is that a simple majority?
Yes,
On the ballot?
it's a simple majority, and if, say, for any reason that sales tax is ever repealed or it sunsets or a new sales tax is added, the use tax automatically adjusts. So the use tax will always equal whatever brick and mortar sales tax is in the city. And as the way the legislation is written, the use tax is similar to general fund. It's allowed for any governmental expenses, but a governing body could, as part of the ballot language, make that more specific. So, for instance, you could say it goes to parks, it goes to the police department, it goes to streets, or some combination thereof.
And it's not uncommon. We have cities around us. I mean, when I talk to and meet with other mayors in surrounding areas, other cities have a use tax, and they, put it towards something. So that's why I was recommending bringing the language back, but Matt has a good point. If you want it to go on November ballot, what kind of language would you want if you guys are interested in it?
Has Blue Springs got that on this election coming up? I heard something about it. Blue Springs are gonna.
Raytown does.
Yeah, I believe, Blue Springs and Raytown, I think both have it, on tomorrow's ballot, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's a good number of cities in the state. I think something like 200 cities already have a use tax, or maybe it's more at this time. Many cities, because of Governor Parsons passing that bill for out-of-state sales tax, have now started to look at doing a use tax. I would say, just anecdotally looking at the cities that have done it, probably 30 to 40% pass.
Yeah.
60 to 70 then don't, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right, yeah. I would say if we did it, we need to direct it towards roads.
I mean, it'd be a nice cushion to, when we've had our workshops for roads, it would start building up that, funding for our roads, that we would have money in it all the time.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be scraping for money or pulling it from different areas.
I'd be surprised if it passes, but,
Well,
yeah,
right,
at least it's up to the voters then.
correct. Any other thoughts? So I have one person that says that they're interested in it, with bringing it back to Kelly, saying as language for the roads.
Yes, I would agree.
There you go.
Yeah,
I've
I
got
agree.
2. I got 3. All right, let's just do a motion. All in favor, or let's see, somebody make a motion. Kelly, would you make a motion for it? And then that will be able to direct city staff.
Mayor, I think it would be best if
No?
you just did it by.
Just what they're doing?
What you're doing, because we didn't have this on the agenda.
You're right, you're
Something
right.
we'd be voting on tonight.
All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, they're all in favor, Matt, to bring the language back for the next meeting for the use tax to direct the funding for roads. Is that all you needed?
That's
All right.
crystal clear. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Chris. Just trying to do things legal, but thank you. All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.